Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel where we talk about Symbaroum, this wonderful game from Free League. I want to start a series of videos about my house rules. I've been running a game for more than a year now, like almost 50 sessions. So now of course I haven't encountered everything in the game because every specific PC group has a different mix of abilities. In this case, I want to talk about the infamous power Maltransformation. And just before I start, I want to thank you for following the channel. I want you to know that I made a little pause because I had a lot of work during the summer and during this autumn, beginning of autumn. Now I'm walking on the park, on the Mont Royal, the mountain in the middle of the city of Montreal in Quebec. And the colors in the trees are starting to become very nice. Okay, so let's talk about Maltransformation. Maltransformation is a witch power, so it means that it's from the witchcraft tradition. Maltransformation, as written, basically lets you transform anything into anything. So you can face a dragon and have a lucky roll. Actually, not even that lucky because it's just resolute. It's not even versus the enemy's resolute. So that means that without an artifact or a special power to resist mystical powers, the dragon is as vulnerable as a regular henchman in the alleys of Indaros. So the problem with that is the same that you have in D&D with the polymorph spell, but worse. So it's easier to pull off. Has as much impact, makes things very banal and ridiculous even. So you have built a super strong scene against a large opponent, and then suddenly the whole scene becomes a farce. What was supposed to be your climax is just a joke. And even if, maybe for the first time they use it, the players will be happy about that. Quickly it becomes redundant, predictable, and really not fun. So it's a completely broken power from a gameplay perspective, because that means that as a GM, to maintain the fun in the game, you will have to give protection against that kind of power to almost every big bad that you put in your campaign. So the person that has invested XP in that power will feel a bit cheated, and it just creates a bad atmosphere in the game. What I'm trying to limit is the goofiness and a certain amount of the utility. It's really a nerfing of this power. So what I use to try to house rule this is the shapeshift power, not the talent, the power. That's the power that lets witches become small mammals or reptiles, and eventually aboars or wolves or even bears. It has its own problems because I find that the higher levels of that power are a bit meek, but at least it gives some guidance on when you are transformed in a small animal, what advantages that you get. And basically you become very quick, very speedy. You avoid free attacks from moving through opponents. So that's a thing that I want to keep. The other thing that is interesting is that you keep your stats. It's a glamour type of transformation. It's not a true physical transformation. It's magic because your equipment gets pulled into the form too. So it's not just your body that physically transforms like a werewolf or something. So in that regard, that means that there's a part of it's partly an illusion, the effect of this power. So I was applying this same thinking to Maltransformation, saying it's the same kind of magic. It's just that you're doing it to another person instead of doing it to yourself. So my house rule is, for now, it might change, we'll see, but as shapeshift, you keep all your passive abilities, your stats. Like the only thing that you lose is your active abilities, because if you're not a dragon anymore, well, maybe you can't fly. All those abilities that don't make sense once you're a squirrel, you lose. But the resistance, the armor, the hit points, all of that stays. The other thing that's super important for me to limit the powers of this, first of all, if you want to change the size of the beast, like if you want to take a dragon and make a squirrel out of it, I would impose some difficulty to that. Like you in that game, you can give bonuses or minuses, from +5 to -5 for circumstance. I would guide the player and say, like, if you want to reduce an enormous beast to a very, very small beast, that's the hardest thing you can pull off, so that's a -5. If you want to turn it into, I don't know, like a, dragon size is pretty big, so there's not that many other things that you can turn it to, but let's say an elephant or something, because you've been to the Southlands, or I don't know, what an elephant is. Well, then you transform the dragon into an elephant, but the dragon still is a huge beast, and this elephant will be super tough because it will have the stats of a dragon. The stats that you will give to this elephant combat-wise will be related to its form. So I would give it rampage, I would give it colossal, many things would stay from the dragon form into the elephant form. Basically what I'm saying is that every maltransformation isn't the same, and the player has to know that. It's not like an automatic thing that you ask for anything, it's like a wish and poop, you get it. It doesn't work like that. That's the first thing that I do as a house rule. Second element that I add to this maltransformation that is very important is that if you cause damage to the transformed shape, then I will ask for a concentration check as if the caster received the damage. So when you wound a transformed creature, its natural body is sort of revolting against the assault, and it puts tension on the magic, and the creature can sort of break away from the spell. So that is represented by a number, like the harder the hit is, the more wounds this creature takes, the harder it is to stop it from becoming itself again. Just those two modifications, they really nerf the squirrel scenario. Like, you transform the dragon into a squirrel, becomes like a mini creature with five toughness, and then the archer of the group puts an arrow in its chest and it's gone. That won't happen. So it is interesting because you neutralize the dragon, you take away his offensive capabilities to a certain extent, but maltransformation is not the way to kill it. So that, I think, is really good because it makes it a good utility spell, but it's not an offensive spell. Lastly, that's minor, but still, I don't want this spell, this power, to be spammed. So, okay, I try to transform the dragon, he resists. I do it again, he resists. I do it again, he resists. I do it again, he finally is transformed. I want to avoid that. Spamming, again, from a gameplay perspective, spamming is boring for everyone because it's predictable. For the player, it's boring because you don't have to think between your turns. You know what you're going to do, and you're always going to do the same thing because that's the optimal thing to do. Basically, you have two shots at it. The first time is the regular time. Let's say you transform the dragon on the first shot, and somebody stabs it, and it comes back to form because you fail your concentration check. You can try to transform it again a second time, but then you have 2 chances to fail that roll. Because it becomes harder and harder because it's just, you can justify it any way you want, but it's magic. The body sort of becomes aware of your attempts to affect it and becomes on alert. So it's harder to do the second time. And if you succeed the second time and it gets damaged again and emerges again from the spell, then it's done. You don't have a third try. If you try a second time with 2 chances to fail and you fail that roll, it's over. You don't get another one. It's not 2 times that succeed. It's just you can try once and you can try a second time with 2 chances to fail, and that's it. In the same scene, of course. So I think it pretty much covers the bases. Maybe I'm wrong. You should definitely tell me in the comments if I'm forgetting something, if something is totally broken in what I've just detailed and described. But I would recommend that if you have a witch in the party that really likes that power, and if, like me, you don't hate it. You know, witches turning people into frogs is sort of a classic thing. So I like that there's a Symbaroum-y, more creepy, weirdo way to do that. Maybe it should be a ritual. That would totally nerf it out, and it would make it maybe more interesting. Maybe that's the solution. Just write in the comments what you think about it. Maybe how you house rule it. And once I've used it quite a few times in my game, I'll do a little update and tell you how it went. As closing words, I just want to thank you again. Remind you that if you want to support this channel, you should head on to Drive-Thru RPG. Check out Playing with Goblins, an adventure I wrote. If you buy it, it helps me out. Basically, what I want to do with that money, I don't really spend it. It's just slowly piling up. I've got 100 sales right now, so it's not like I'm becoming a millionaire with that. But I might want to buy some artwork for the following, like the sequel of this adventure, and I would use that money for that. So anyways, thanks again. Have fun, happy gaming. Keep it light, keep it bright, or not really. Well, I mean, keep it light and bright at the table, and keep it dark and gloomy in the story. All right, ciao, bye, prochaine.